If Paul Volcker were running the show today, what would he be doing differently than what Ben Bernanke is doing?
So that's the show. The show meaning the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
Well,
and I don't want to get you or him
well,
or Ben or anybody else in trouble here.
You could ask him directly, but I would extrapolate from his experience in the late 70s and early 80s. And there was one telling interchange in 1982, which was we had a deep recession. The highest unemployment rate, including now, it was close to 11%. And at the trough, at the bottom of the recession, he was in favor of switching course. And one of his colleagues at the Federal Reserve said, we're about to make the biggest mistake, the same mistake we've always made. And Volcker said, no, the mistake that we made in the past in the United States at the central bank was remaining too easy for too long, rather than easing at the trough. What that means is today, we've had easy monetary policy for 5 years. I think Ben Bernanke did the exact right thing in 2008, open up the floodgates to prevent a panic. We're going to have a recovery. It's going to take a little longer than we thought, but I think Ben Bernanke has to start thinking about the lessons of the 1970s and sort of put the lessons of the Great Depression on the back burner. They've already helped. That's the past. Going forward, you got to start worrying about how you're going to pull back a little bit and raise interest rates when people still remember that we've had 5 years of recession.
Inflation.
Going forward, the problem, and it's not today, and it's not going to be 6 months from now, but a year or two from now, as this recovery gathers steam, it will. I mean, just the nature of things, it will. You're going to have to start thinking, oh, we're going to have to raise interest rates, and it always has to be preemptively. You can't wait until, don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. That doesn't work with inflation. You've got to do it beforehand. That's going to be very difficult to switch to worrying about inflation when it doesn't seem to be a problem.
When do the rates start going back up?
It depends on
when do you think the rates start
depends
going
on
back
who
up?
the Fed chairman will be. Ben Bernanke said it's not going to go up for the next 2 years. And by the way, I say that's slightly misinterpreted, but that's what you see the headlines for. Knowing what he knows now, he says we're going to keep interest rates extremely low for the next 2 years. But what happens as you see recovery? We've already seen housing prices stop going down. That's the first step in starting to go up. And that's a good thing. But at some point soon, and I say with between 18 months is a horizon where I think we're going to be surprised. And the Fed chairman is going to have to say, okay, it's time to raise interest rates. And a lot of people are going to say, wait a second. We've had unemployment for the past 5 years. Don't do that. The Federal Reserve is independent because the president can't say, do this, but it's not independent of public opinion.